What's going on, YouTube? JT Reborn here, and welcome to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Batman issue number 117. This one's written by James Tanyan with art by Jorge Jimenez. There's also a Batgirls backup written by Becky Cloonan, and this is kind of the end of James Tanyan's run on Batman per se. Well, he's got the Fear State Omega issue, and on top of this, he also wrote this Batman Secret Files issue about the Gardener. And this is pretty much the ending to this Fear State event. Obviously, we're going to have the epilogue and a few issues that are listed as tie-ins for next week. But my God, this event was a mess. Trying to cover all these different things, like between this issue and Nightwing, there were some real inconsistencies. I was really confused, like when this issue opens up, right as soon as it opens up, Simon Saint's kind of freaking out, and then members of the Bat family are in mechanized armor, which was not established in the previous issue. You have to read Nightwing, but Nightwing, it like the timing of everything seems kind of off. It seemed like there's some inconsistencies between this one and that one, at least from when I was reading. I don't know. This just feels like a writer was just like, all right, I just got to wrap this shit up. I didn't even care how it finishes. That's kind of like when you're working on a big project and you spend a really long time on it, but then you go through different leaps and hurdles and you just don't know what to do. But you got to kind of finish this thing up because you have deadlines. And it got to the point where Tanyan's just like, I just don't care anymore. At least that's the impression I get from this thing. But the one thing salvaging this issue is Jorge Jimenez's amazing artwork. But other than that, I didn't think this was a very good issue. In fact, this event as a whole was just a convoluted mess. Like I said, Jorge's artwork is spectacular. Basically, Ivy fuses with other version of Poison Ivy, and to help the citizens of Gotham, she unleashes pheromones to make everybody happy-go-lucky. You have a Harley and Ivy kiss, which if you're a fan of that ship, then there's a nice moment there, I guess. Batman faces down against Peacekeeper 1, kicks his ass. Miracle Molly is about to unleash this device that's going to wipe away everyone's memories, but it's going to erase all their trauma. And she's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to fucking do it. And Batman convinces her by plugging his cowl into her head that everyone's just okay. Simon Saint's arrested. Nakano is free from his whole thing in the sewer, I guess. No reference to that whatsoever. Ghostmaker makes a brief cameo there, pretty much doing absolutely nothing this entire arc. The Gardener was another character who did pretty much next to nothing. I don't even know why they even existed. And the bat signal's in the air. We get the shot of the Bat family here, which doesn't include Catwoman, but includes Harley Quinn, which is ridiculous. And for some reason, Jace Fox is in there. He doesn't know anybody in the Bat family. We have not established him interacting with anybody. In fact, his issues that are considered Fear State tie-ins, based on that checklist I've looked at, they don't really tie into this event at all. You didn't even need to include him at all. In fact, from what I just read, he's going to be going off to New York and being a Batman of his own city, which I'm totally all for. I think that's good for the character, so they have a chance to kind of grow on their own. But why is he in this group shot? Why isn't Catwoman in this group shot? Why is Harley Quinn in here over Catwoman? I don't understand. Also, where's that Ghostmaker character? He just pretty much got forgotten about in this arc. It's like, what was the point of including so many of these characters? This event was just a convoluted mess. Between this and Nightwing, which was probably the worst Nightwing issue in Tom Taylor's run, I feel like this event just derailed that Nightwing book entirely. And I feel like once we get back to that event, it'll pick up again and I'll start enjoying it more. But Fear State, man, Fear State just put a damper on so many things. I think the only Fear State tie-in stuff I was kind of like, okay, well, even... yeah, I'm trying to think of any of them that I really, really liked. Was there any? Yeah, like I said, this event just kind of derailed so much momentum for a lot of these interesting stories. I guess the Detective Comics one was probably the strongest if I'm considering Fear State tie-in events in terms of the comics, but wow, this event was just exhausting. We got this issue this week. We had the Nightwing one, and then we had the Secret Files issue with the Gardener, which I will get to talking about. So I'm going to try and record all three of these videos and get them posted one after the other. But yeah, so Batman's able to like stop this whole trauma thing by convincing her not to unleash this bomb. And he hugs her, and that's pretty much it. What was the purpose of including some of these characters like the Gardener and Ghostmaker? I don't know. Why did they create these characters? Like, one of them just there for exposition, and they're just kind of forgotten about. Miracle Molly is there. Batman isn't the one to really kind of end this. It just didn't work for me. And then after this, we have a Batgirls backup, which was okay. I'm just gonna kind of like, when it comes to a lot of these backups, I'm kind of over having some of these backups at this point. Like, I mean, the Batgirls one's okay, but I'm just kind of want a lot of these to just be their own books, or just kind of shove them into Urban Legends or something, because it's just, it ups the price of a lot of these books. And like, you kind of like, with the main story, then you have the backup storyline, which is partially tied in. It says it's after the events. Like, the timing of every one of these issues is just kind of all over the place. But basically, it's Steph and Cass in this little rundown apartment place. They're kind of staying away because Seer, if you read Nightwing, was out there. Like, Seer was like the anti-Oracle character. They're trying to hide from her. Babs is going to come back and try and get things reestablished with the Batgirls. They're just kind of just bored, waiting for Barbara to show up. She shows up, and she's talking about how they're going to get their own new little headquarters. And but she's not going to stay with them because she's going to be crashing with Dick. Why they don't include the other two girls with them is beyond me. I don't exactly know. But the anti-Oracle finds them, and then pretty much like things get destroyed. They get reunited with Babs and all that, and pretty much it's setting up for the whole event with the Batgirls book. And there's also a preview for the Batgirls issue, which to be fair, I'm kind of waiting to read when that Batgirls book comes out. I'll go ahead and reread all the backup storylines, but I kind of want to wait for that issue to come out, so I just held off from reading it for now. But in terms of this ending to Tanyan's main Batman book run, because next month Josh L. Williamson is taking over, which we can see right there, which I'm actually looking forward to, because I'm really liking what Williamson's done with Robin. And thank God Robin is a book that is separate from this entire event, because this event was just kind of a convoluted mess where next to nothing really happens. You didn't need all these tie-in books. All those tie-in stories could have just happened under Tanyan's writing. They didn't need to exist. I feel like there's just too much going on the sides, but yet next to nothing really happens. This was an event that moved at a slog's pace, and the best part about it was Jorge Jimenez'S artwork. I'm just feeling a sigh of relief, because we're going to basically be done with this whole Magistrate, Fear State storyline soon, and I couldn't be happier. And I feel like after this, we need to take a break from these big kind of events. We just had City of Bane, then it was Joker War, and now it's the Fear State event with the Scarecrow. I feel like Gotham doesn't need any villains to kind of take over for a bit. I feel like after this, we should probably get some more personal stories with the characters. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. You don't always need like some big mega event all the time. It just feels like we've kind of done that for a while. Like, everything's just kind of setting up for the next big event, which, yeah, comics have that all the time. But I feel like for the Batman book, we need to kind of get a little bit more smaller in terms of the stories. I'm excited for what Williamson's going to do. I want to see Batman reunite with his son. I want to see that relationship worked on and fixed. I want a more smaller and more personal story. No more of these big, massive tie-in events with like 30-something issues to keep up with some inconsistencies between the issues. I don't know about you, but that just kind of became a bit overwhelming for me to try and keep up with some of this mess. And I want something like that. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for after this. I'm excited for what Williamson's going to do. In terms of Tanyan's Batman book, the artwork was fantastic. He introduced so many new characters, and most of them I couldn't really care about, and I don't think they're going to really be utilized much going forward. It was better. He was better than Tom King's stuff. I'll give him that. It was better than Tom King. Like, his first couple issues were okay, and like I said, it was better than what Tom King was doing. But I'm really hoping for a new writer to take over to do a really good job. I know Williamson's going to take over for a small bit. I don't know how long that's going to be. Probably a couple issues. But if it were up to me, I put Peter J. Tomasi on Batman. I know I've said this a lot. I really like the guy's writing. He's not really writing any major books at DC. Put him on Batman for a while. Just give it to him. Like, he was doing a good job in Detective Comics before he got booted off for Mariko Tamaki, which I'll give Tamaki credit. I've actually liked Detective Comics overall. Not everything's like amazing or anything like that, but it's a lot better than the main Batman book. So I'd give Tomasi the main Batman book. I mean, he delivered very well with Superman, and if not him, you could go with maybe a Ram V. Like, I read Ram V's Catwoman book, and I wasn't really a fan early on of that run with what was the Joel Jones thing, but upon reading the whole thing and getting to the stuff with Ram V, I was actually really starting to like it and come around to it. So I'd say Tomasi or Ram V to take over the main Batman book, but after Williamson, because I think Williamson's going to be kind of a short term on that book, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, I'll go ahead and talk about Nightwing and the Secret Files, the Gardner issue after this. But if you read Batman issue number 117, what did you think of it? What did you think of the Batgirls backup? Like, I don't really have too many thoughts on the backup. It's just okay. But I am looking forward to the Batgirls book by Becky Cloonan. So, like I said, if you have thoughts on 117 or the Fear State event as a whole, I know we still got like another week of like epilogue type issues and the Fear State Omega thing, and then we're officially done, and then I can just put Fear State to bed. It was exhausting trying to read so many issues and covering so many videos on this thing, but I'm just relieved that it's done. So, all right, yeah, that's all I got to say. Leave your thoughts down below on this issue and the event as a whole. Anyways, as always, take care now. Bye-bye then. I will see you all in the next video. Subscribe, all that other fun shit. I got to go. Peace out.